right, welcome to the Free Game Dundee podcast, life, family, and business. We're going to be talking about blended families today. We're going to be piggybacking off of a previous discussion.
Yes. So as with our previous discussion, where we were talking about blended families, what we were talking about was the family dynamic. We were talking about how the parent is the one that has to set the tone for, how everything is going to be with the kids as well as with the significant other. And how if they do have that communication and that communication is clear, it makes for less bumps in the road, so to speak. So honestly, once you have that, then there's other dynamics to this. It's like an onion. You got to keep peeling back, right? So as we were talking about this, because like we said, we be having these discussions all the time. So as we talked about the blended families, there was an aspect that we did not talk about. And we wanted to share that with you guys because once we were conversing with each other, we were like, oh man, this could actually probably help somebody, And so we wanted to share that. So when getting in a relationship, everybody has something going on with them, right? So in the case of you and myself, you had children, but I didn't. But I had a grandmother that I was caring for. So in that particular instance, what I was bringing to the table was myself and everything I had going on with me and my grandmother. What you were bringing to the table was yourself, everything you had going on with you and your children. And we had to figure out a way to blend that all together. And that's why we say communication is so important, because I think the reason why it flowed a little easier for us is because we communicated what was going on with each other and kind of kept each other in the know. So what I want to ask you is how, if you can remember, how did you let me know how everything was going to be so that I could, I guess, in my mind, wrap my head around what a situation of me and Donald together would look like?
Well, first of all, man, I think that a lot of times these blended families don't work out because people don't know that it's going to be a blend.
Yeah. That's
right?
True. That's true.
Like you're dating this woman or dating this guy and you have no idea that once you get married or further down the road, that there's going to be a situation that you're going to have to take on some kids or a mother-in-law or a father-in-law or whatever. Yes. And so none of these things were discussed, right? Mm-hmm. And I think one of the things about us, when we were dating, early on, I told you, I said, hey, I'm going to fight for my kids. I want to put them in a better situation. I'm going to fight for custody of them at some point. And I told you that after us dating, I don't know how long, maybe.
I don't even remember.
It wasn't no more.
We weren't engaged. We were still dating.
Yeah, we were still. This was early on in the dating process. Because we were friends for about 3 months. And I'd say once we got out of the friend stage, I'd say maybe 3 to 6 months into us really dating, I was like, hey, because I'm noticing this is getting serious. And I'm just like,
you're like, she's not going nowhere.
Yeah, so. She's not going anywhere. I'm just like, hey, listen, I'm going to get my kids. Right now, I have joint custody, and it's very comfortable because it's every other weekend, holidays, things of that nature. So it's comfortable for you. It may get uncomfortable here pretty soon because I'm going to fight for custody.
Yeah.
And I just let that be known, and and shout out to you, man. You made it very clear that you were up for that type of a battle. So
yeah, and if I can be honest, I'm not sure if I was even really thinking that all the way out. Because you got to think about it. Like it's kind of scary not having any children of your own and knowing that okay, if my partner gets custody of these children, okay, I'm instantly going to have to, play my part. Again, nobody's trying to replace, the parent or anything like that, but there's a role to be played, especially if they're under your roof, And so I don't think I thought all the way into it, but what I will say is because I loved you and believed in you, I want to say that I believed that everything would be okay. Plus, as I shared with you before, my grandmother got me from my mom and dad and took care of me because they just weren't doing what they needed to do. So I think it also helped there that I was able to see somebody step up to the plate and sacrifice for me to provide me a better life because they saw that it might not be the best or the best opportunity for a good life for me where I presently was. And so for me to be selfish and say, nah, I'm not up for it, I don't think that I could have done that anyway because I saw an example of that sacrifice.
Yeah, but let me say this, man, going back to the question that you asked me, I do believe that the reason why people end up getting out of relationships is because they felt like they didn't have a choice. And so my thing was I wanted to give you a choice. So I wanted you to have a choice from day one, like, hey, I'm going to fight for these kids. I want to give you a choice before I spring this on you. You know, I just didn't feel like that was fair to you to spring that on you. And so I think that I just wanted you to have a choice. Sometimes people get ostracized for walking out of certain situations, but maybe they walked out because something got sprung on them that they didn't sign up for. I wanted you to know what you were signing up for. Right. And because of that, I think that you didn't have any resentment. I just look back on how things went, that there was no resentment. There was no, well, Donald just put this on me. No, we were dating. You knew early on in the process, hey, this man has told me he's going to fight for his daughters. That's just something he said he's going to do. So you knew that. And so I think that that was fair to you. And it just made it to the point to where it's like we didn't have to deal with resentment issues. I think a lot of times when you feel like you're dealing with something that you didn't sign up for, I think that's where some of the issues, resentment, I know that's the word I use, comes into play.
Yeah, and I think it does because people feel like you tricked me.
Yeah.
You tricked me.
He got me.
Because you didn't say anything, or maybe you were in the gray. So to speak. Yeah. So sometimes you have to, if it's something that you want to do, you have to believe in it and just speak on it.
And check this out, Michael. You talked about the gray because, in business, we always talk about in the gray. Successful people, man, they stay in the gray. But when it comes to relationship, hey, man, you can't be in the gray, baby. I mean, you're saying like, hey, I'm going to do this. I know I'm going to do this. I want you to know I'm going to do this so that you can make a conscious decision, decide if you want to really truly sign up for this. And to be honest, I didn't even know what it was going to entail. And boy, it was rough. Looking back on it, I was like, whew, she better than me. But she didn't know, and I didn't even really know how it was going to play out. But it was rough.
Yeah. And so that was the question that I was going to ask you, and you got right to it. So I love that it flowed to that organically. You said that you weren't even sure if you were prepared for what you said that you wanted to do.
Listen, man, I'm going to tell you something, and I'm going to put some of these fathers on game. Some fathers won't fight for custody because they're afraid they can't win, but they don't understand the win is in the fight.
Yes.
If you got one job, baby, that's the fight. When your kids get older, you want to be able to say, I fought for y'all. We went to court, I lost, but I fought for y'all. So I didn't realize it was going to be a fight. I wasn't really trying to make it that, but it really ended up being pretty nasty and contentious. But I realized that it wasn't about me winning, it was about me fighting. And I did not know it was going to be that rough. But I couldn't live without knowing that I fought.
That's right. And that's smart. I think a lot of people don't think about that. They concentrate more so on the fear or the difficulty, oh, now she's going to be difficult, or now he's going to be difficult with the kids and this and that. It's not worth it. Not realizing that if you endure that, your children see that. They can always say, I know mom or dad, they fought for me. They tried their best. And then even when you lose custody, that don't mean that you don't, or excuse me, if you lose the custody battle, that does not mean that you still can't see your kids or still be a father or a mother to your kids. Stay in their lives still. Do what you can do to be around them and for them to know that, I'm here. I may have lost the battle, but I'm still here and I'm here for you. That's so important.
Yeah. I
saw you.
Listen, I appreciate all your support going through that difficult time because my thing was, I told you, I said, hey, we're going to fight. And it was just all about fighting. And a lot of parents may not think about this. I'm going to talk about fathers.
Yeah.
Because sometimes fathers, they talk to me about this kind of stuff. And I'm a straight shooter. I said, hey, man, you got to fight. You got to fight. All my brothers, I was the first one out the clan to get awarded custody, and all my other brothers followed suit. But I said, hey, man, you got to fight. Don't worry about winning, worry about fighting. These kids are going to get older, and you want to make sure that they can look back and say, my dad fought for me. And here's the thing, the system has no problem putting you on child support, but you're going to have to fight for everything else, and that's fine. That's the system that we live in. So as a father, you have to fight for your rights, and you have to fight for your, for the right to be in your child's lives. And the children don't know none of the politics of this. All they know is daddy wasn't there.
Exactly.
Mama wasn't there, because this is applicable to women too. They were not there. They were not present. And so that was just something that I was willing to fight.
Got you. So one of the questions that I wanted to ask you after we had our conversation about this, so like you said, you weren't sure, you knew what you wanted to do, but you weren't sure exactly, how prepared you were for it. So now going through a custody battle, were you prepared for some of the ups and downs that occurred within the custody battle?
Of course not. Any father that's going through a custody battle, I don't think that they're prepared for this unless they've been through it before. I come from a 2-parent household. So I had never seen anything like this when it comes to the way the system gives preferential treatment to mothers. And maybe in most cases they deserve it. But I really wasn't prepared for what I had to deal with at all. It was all new to me. Luckily for me, I had a uncle. He's since passed, but he helped me get through it because he had been through it himself. So he really helped me kind of get through some of the legal stuff. I had the presence of mind to have at the time one of the best criminal defense attorneys in the state of Georgia on my side. Well, here's the thing, man, and I always tell other fathers this, man. They'll say, well, I can't afford to fight for custody, bro. You can, how important to you is it?
Yeah.
When it's important to you for real, you will spare no expense. And for me, it was paramount that I had the best attorney, in the area for sure. And I needed a criminal defense attorney that would take it. I needed somebody that would put the beat down in the courtroom.
Yeah.
And I know I say that, but I'm just saying I needed somebody that would really plead my case and make sure that I have my rights, and that's what I did. I mean, that particular lawyer handled a lot of other things for me in the past, and so I knew what he was capable of doing in the courtroom, and he took care of business, but it wasn't without. It was a lot of hardship along the way, as you know. So
got you. So, usually men, they are depicted as they have to be strong and stern and all of this. But quite honestly, how did having to go down that road of custody and the way that, possibly your interactions with your children, family and whatnot, how did that affect you emotionally?
Well, in my case, of course, whenever you're fighting for custody, sometimes they will assign a guardian ad litem, right?
Yes.
And so that is somebody that is going to be an advocate for the child. And so the guardian ad litem would spend time with the kids at their mom's house. They spend time, of course, she would come over to our house sometimes and just kind of get a feel for the environment, that the children are in. You know, and you're kind of dealing with all of that, you know, and then you're dealing with other issues. And I know, you know, I'm gonna go ahead and just talk about it. So I guess with us, it really got difficult because things were going. Our case was going very, very well, and we were getting ready to win custody. And the Friday right before the Monday we were getting ready to go to court. You know, you were going to pick the kids up, and then and when you got there, the police was there because that's when they tried to say, well, hey, you know. The mother is filing charges against the dad, and so you can't, you know, y'all can't get the kids. And luckily, I was out of town and I didn't make it I didn't make it in town on time. They normally pick my kids up on that Friday. I wasn't going to be in town until Friday night, so I had you to go get them, you know, and we were engaged at the time, and you know, that's when we found out that. You know, the Friday before the Monday we were getting ready to go to court, that, you know, that you know, my ex had basically had put charges against me, two felony counts of child molestation that I had to deal with because she felt like she was going to lose custody of the kids. And so that was a lot for me to deal with emotionally, because now, you know, I can't see my kids until that's resolved. Now the hearing is pushed back. Like, I'm thinking, okay, Monday we about to get the kids. Well, now because of these charges, now that gets pushed back. And so when I think back to it, I was like, man, if I would have been there to pick my kids up, I would have been arrested. You know, I'm all in the paper for 2 counts of child molestation. You can't roll this stuff back. No. You know what I'm saying? Once that's out there, like how do you they don't put corrections in the paper. So, you know, and so with that being said, when I got in town later that evening, you know, my lawyer worked it out to where is that, you know, I just went to Department of Social Services on Monday, and you know, he worked it out with, you know, with Richmond County and everything, where I didn't have to technically turn myself in. But when I went to DFACS Monday morning with my lawyer, and DFACS was saying, Department of Social Services, they were saying, well, listen, this happens all the time. A lot of fathers get put in these type of situations. We still had to investigate it and treat, you know, the charges seriously, but we do realize this happens all the time. Now, granted, I had at the time the best criminal defense attorney with me walking into there, so they didn't really want any smoke. So that was worked out to my advantage. With that being said, the guardian ad litem continued to interview the children over the next. I couldn't have any contact with the children for. It took about 3 months to get those charges thrown out. And so we went back to court after that time. And it's funny, man, the things that are meant to hurt you end up helping you. Yeah. So I remember sitting in that courtroom, and basically the judge said, well, listen, the guardian ad litem found out that the children were being coerced to say these things about their father. So he kind of, you know, I guess from a judge perspective, kind of smacked her around in the courtroom a little bit. And, you know, and I'm just sitting there like, man, you know, I can't believe what he's saying to her. This is really, it was making me feel, not that I wanted to see her get smacked around, you know, in the courtroom, but it felt good because I was like, man, now a man is getting some respect in the courtroom. So that really made me feel good. But either way, once he got done with her, basically the end result was I got custody of my children. And I almost feel like had it not been for her going to those great lengths, I may not have gotten custody, because we had so many other things to prove that I was the better fit for the children at the time. But it even took that. It took so much for me as a father to get my children and raise them. But we weathered that storm, and Lord knows, I remember, you know, my dad, man, I love my father to death. My dad, I remember after I caught the charges, I told my dad about it, and we sat down and talked about it. He said, son, you just need to just let that go. You know, just let it go. Just let the situation go. And I had to tell myself, Dad, I got to fight now. Even if I wanted to let it go, I mean, I don't have any choice now. Now,
Now I'm fighting for my freedom.
I'm fighting for my freedom too. I'm fighting for my kids and my freedom. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I wasn't going to let it go anyway, but I really can't let it go now because now it's really a situation where, I got these 2 felony counts on me. This is crazy, but I got to take it seriously. So, I have an attorney that's working on getting all of this stuff resolved. And of course, it most certainly did get resolved and thrown out and ended up working in my favor. It's probably the best thing that ever happened to me when it comes to me getting custody of my children. I think that was pretty much, I guess I don't want to say nail in the coffin to some degree when it came to my case. That really helped me. So looking at the pain and the nights, me crying and just going through a lot of emotional things, with, just getting those charges put on me, it was well worth it. If that's what I had to do to get cut. If somebody would have told me, hey, Don, you got to go through this to get custody of your children, go ahead and sign me up. Mm-hmm. I mean, it was a lot to go through, but go ahead and sign me up. Gotcha. Okay, whatever it takes for me to be, to be the father that I know that I need to be for these children, go ahead and sign me up.
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, that's amazing. So, thank you for sharing that. Thank you for sharing that because I think a lot of people need to hear that, and it's also therapeutic, to get that off your chest. I know that's something that's in the past, but it's something that we will always carry with ourselves. So, I guess my last question for you before we wrap this up is, what would you tell other fathers that may be in similar situations like yourself? What they should do if they want to be in their child's life? What is it that you need to do, ignore, whatever? What is it?
Well, listen, man, I would tell any father, the first thing you need to do is you need to get you a good attorney. Mm-hmm. You need to take notes. You need to, whatever your situation is with your ex or your child's mother, make sure you get your visitation stuff in writing. Everything needs to be in writing as to when you're coming to get the kids, what holidays are yours, and whenever you have a problem going to pick up your kids, go get your paperwork and call the local police. Say, hey, I'm here to pick up my kids. She won't let them come. Mm-hmm. Here's my paperwork. Can you please have her bring my kids out? It seems like a lot you have to go through, but you'd be surprised how many fathers have to go through these lengths to get their children. A lot of fathers don't have paperwork. If you don't have paperwork, you don't have rights. So that's how the system is set up. You don't have paperwork, you don't have rights. You got paperwork, you have rights. And it doesn't matter how she feels about your rights. You got paperwork, so she's going to have to bring the kids out. And I'm just telling you from experience, going to pick up my kids and hearing things like, oh, they don't want to come this weekend. I didn't ask you whether or not they wanted to come or not. I'm here for my scheduled visitation. This was before I got custody. So please send my children out, you still saying no? No worries. I'm gonna go back to the car and I'm gonna call the county police. They're gonna come out there. I'm not gonna make a ruckus. I'm not gonna make a scene. I'm gonna make a phone call. That's the only thing I'm gonna make. I'm gonna make a phone call. Mm-hmm. So you start to realize that the power is in your paperwork. So if you're a father and you don't see your children the way you'd like to, you're going to have to get an attorney. You're going to have to fight for your rights, and you're going to have your paperwork be very specific as to, when you are to see your children, and take that paperwork with you every time you go pick your children up. Okay. It's just one of those things, man. I mean, I know some fathers won't do it because they feel like they shouldn't have to do it. Right. There's a lot of things we shouldn't have to do that we have to do. Exactly. So just do it. Just do what you have to do. I mean, because your children are going to be the ones paying the price. Mm-hmm. All right, they're going to pay the price if you don't step up and be a father.
Yes, love it. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Like we were saying, there's so many dynamics to blending a family, to even getting into relationships.
Hold up, Michael.
And stuff. So.
Not to cut you off. I mean, shout out to you as a mother, because we're sitting there talking about this, and I'm thinking about how great you were throughout that whole process, because I'm dealing with 2 felony counts of child molestation, and going through all of this, man. And you, as my wife, oh man, you probably like, man, what is this dude doing, man? we got a good life over here, man. You up here fighting for custody and inviting extra drama into our life.
No, I mean, to go back to that time, yeah, it was definitely mind blowing. But the thing is, I knew it wasn't true because I was there that weekend when the alleged occurred. I was there, so it's like, okay, I know I'm not blind, nothing happened. But the whole thing is, they have to do what they've got to do to prove that was the case. And so I wasn't worried about that because I knew that wasn't true. But I did feel like that was a whole lot to have to deal with. Like, I didn't know stuff like that happens. Like, I see them on TV, Lifetime movies. I didn't know that happened in real life. So I was just like, wow, the drama.
Listen, man, you know what's funny, man? You just said something that was powerful. You said, I didn't know this happened in real life. Yeah. When I went down to the Department of Social Services with my lawyer, when I got back in town, they said the same exact thing. They said this happens more than you know. Wow. I didn't know this. I thought this stuff was just on Lifetime. I did not know that this stuff really happens in real life. So it caught me off guard as well. So it was something shocking really to the both of us. But I appreciate you hanging in there, man, because shout out to my dad. He was like, man, you got to get out of there, man. Don't, leave them kids where they at, man. And your parents' job is to protect you. And my dad was trying to protect me. But I had to tell him, no, man, I got to do what I got to do, Dad. I appreciate the advice, but I got to do it now. Yeah.
I'm ride or die, baby. I wasn't gonna let you down. I'm ride or die.
But no, I mean, you're going through these kind of things. You better be strong, and you better have a strong partner with you.
Yes, most definitely. Anyway, we're gonna stop that here for this particular episode, and we got a little something for y'all next episode, so y'all stay tuned, okay? Free game, Dundee, life, family, and business. Thank you for watching.
All right.